All right, hi guys. So in this budding conversation we've been having about leadership and identity, one of the Lion's men pointed out something that I thought was powerful, quite brilliant. We have a problem. From the outside, our top perceived deficiency is that of leadership. On the inside, as we're looking at ourselves, our top recognized need is for confidence. What is the great killer of confidence and thus of leadership? Failure. Failure is the great killer of confidence. We are fast becoming the generation, or have fast become the generation, that cannot look itself in the mirror without thinking, you fake, you fraud, you weak, conquered attempter of things far beyond yourself, you failure. And the problem is, it's true. We can't escape the truth, by which I mean we can't escape a truth that is true. So how do we make it not true anymore? How do we reverse this truth? And how do we reverse it? Not just so that we can stop looking at it in the mirror and thinking you fake and you fraud and respect ourselves once more. How do we do it so that we can become the men who stand like bulwarks against the wind and become a safe place for those around us to take refuge? And perhaps more personally, how do we conquer ourselves so that we can have the bravery and strength, not to mention the insight and perception needed to stand up against the creeping compromises that destroy relationships before and after the marriage altar? It is no secret that men want to be respected. Anyone can tell you that. What I think most people forget is that men need to be able to respect themselves. We need to be able to look in the mirror and believe in that guy, because he is a living example of the power of God in motion in human form. And if we can't respect ourselves, then external respect coming from someone else always feels like part fraud, or it makes us feel like we are part fraud. Not to mention the fact that we need to be respectable legitimately in order to gain the respect of those around us, including the women. So we have a problem. What's the solution? Well, I do not have a comprehensive solution, but I do have three thoughts, three ideas that have become and are becoming increasingly precious to me while wrestling with this problem. Thought number one, idea number one, we need to understand ourselves. We need to understand the hormones and the accompanying reflexes that lay at the foundation of why we do what we do. Now you can always say, the reason why we do what we do, the reason why we think what we think is because of all the garbage we've put in our minds and that we can't get out. That's partly true, but why did we put it there in the first place? We men need to have a conversation about this. That's all seriousness, minus the hype, minus the shame, minus the social taboo that makes us pretend that this is not our fight too. And in truth, we all need it, men and women alike, but the conversation needs to start with us. So number one, we need to understand ourselves. Number two, we need to understand how to fight back. This emptiness, this darkness is easy to hate. It is hard to root out, especially the ways that we often try to do it. I feel like the attempts that we make go in circles, partly because they focus on stopping an external behavior or an external string of thoughts that are unwanted. But it's like trying to stop a barrel from rolling down a hill. The second that we cease our intervention, if our intervention was even successful in the first place, the barrel starts rolling again. Here's the fundamental truth about lust as it relates to love. Lust can't be deleted. You can't just get in there and root it out. You can't get rid of it. It has to be crowded out. Lust has to be replaced. It's like a cup, an empty cup. We need water, but what it's filled with is emptiness, and so we take a straw and try to suck out the emptiness. You're never gonna suck the emptiness out of a cup. You're gonna put water in. You're never gonna suck the darkness out of a room. You turn on the light. Love is the strongest force in the universe, and it is the only force that is stronger than lust. So maybe we need to be talking more about this kind of replacement intervention, overwhelming lust with the power of love. And I mean by that, the power of the love of God. At any rate, number two, we need to understand how to fight back. And lastly, number three, we need to judge and pursue purity by its roots, not just its fruits. Not primarily as an external set of behaviors, but an internal fortitude, an internal resolve, an internal nobility that gets right down to the motives instead of just the mechanics of behaviors. So breaking this all down is too much for one day. It's too much for one video, but the problem's not going to go away. So we're going to tackle it one little bit at a time. Nevertheless, if you're still watching the video at this point, there is a resource that you may be interested in. Some time ago, I produced a 5-part short video course tackling some of the above and more topics as regards specifically overcoming sin and temptation. It's actually part of a more comprehensive resource on overcoming sexual sin. So the link to that I'll leave in the description below. And if you want to continue this dialogue, then comment below. Have I missed something? Have I hit the nail on the head? And be sure to follow that link to get immediate access to the 5-part free mini-series about overcoming temptation, which is over on our companion site, formorethanthis.com. And as always, like, subscribe, share, join the Facebook group, The Lion and His Men. The wider the conversation, the larger the army. And until next time, for the roar of the lion and the love of the lamb, I'm Sean Neblett, and this is The Lion and His Men.